From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
It is just about 7 minutes past the hour. Thank you for waking up early in the morning. My goodness, have the crazies come out this weekend. You know, we've been saying that we live in bizarro world for a long time. I'm serious. I almost don't even know where to begin, but let me just begin with Hillary. Hillary Clinton has returned, and she gave this whole speech about President Trump, although she doesn't call him president. President Trump wants to kill and jail his opposition. But if you examine the facts, it is Biden and the Democrats that are trying to jail their opponent. And it's really plural, their opponents. And then when I say the crazies came out, look at these sickos. The Democrats are introducing a bill, some jackass from Mississippi, Benny Thompson, introducing a bill that would seek to remove President Trump's Secret Service detail. Now, that person should be removed from office. In what America would it be a good idea for the immediate past and likely future president to have his Secret Service detail removed? To what? Have him kidnapped? To have him killed? And then, of course, you know, Biden and the Democrats won't give RFK Jr. Secret Service protection, even though he had a guy with a gun at one of his rallies. And his life has been threatened multiple times. Obviously, his uncle, the President of the United States, President Kennedy, assassinated. His father, who I believe would have been president, was senator and then attorney general. He was assassinated. It is outrageous, the conduct of these Democrats. Of course I don't want it to happen, and I hesitate saying it. But could you imagine if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was assassinated, and you don't think there's at least one nut job out there that would love to kill a Kennedy? What do you think the fallout would be? Would the media then review all the letters that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sent to Joe Biden saying that my life is threatened? We have credible, specific threats. I mean, look at the history of Secret Service protection details and presidential candidates. Obama got it early on. He was a novice. Others have gotten it. Most that have requested it have gotten it. Not only them, but their wives, their family. I think anybody that's legitimately running should have a Secret Service protection detail for the candidate, for the spouse, and for the children. And I would even extend it to grandchildren. I mean, you have to draw the line somewhere. Hunter Biden, who pretty soon I think is going to be a convicted felon, is this jerk Thompson, is he going to request Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail be removed? I didn't hear him request that. Just President Trump's. What a farcical bill. Denying infinite security and government resources allocated toward convicted and extremely dishonorable former protectees act. What a stupid, unserious man. The acronym is disgraced. to deny security and government resources to those convicted of a federal or state offense. Do you notice all these things that have never existed and nobody would even talk about, no one would even consider, that just no norms are allowed to continue where Trump is concerned? Just ridiculous. And look, if they get a conviction out of New York City, you've got a judge whose daughter is a financial Democrat operative. The judge himself is a Joe Biden contributor. I've told you before, Michael Blee at the county level, state level, if you will, recused himself from a case. I could cite the case, but I won't. Where I think he didn't want to be on the case because he didn't have a conflict of interest. And he gave himself a conflict of interest. He was involved with the Atlantic City Police, and this involved a police officer who I don't believe he had ever met and never had any involvement whatsoever. He recused himself. But you got this Mershon, and he's just making a mess of this thing. Here's what the Democrats know. They know that none of this crap is going to stand up in the end. But they do know that they can cost Trump money, even more importantly, because Trump is good at making money. But they're costing him time. You can always make more money if you're talented and you're smart. You can't make more time. When they take that from you, you've lost it. And they know exactly what they're doing. Trump in the New York courtroom all morning, all day, till late afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. They know exactly what they're doing. I was looking at the average. Do you know a case like Trump's wouldn't be prosecuted for 3 years in New York City, at least? And do you realize they are holding up murderers and horrifically bad, violent people and their trials to do this Trump thing? I'll tell you what. The language, and I'm not a user of foul language often, but the language that I want to use on these people, I don't want to be anywhere other than WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and of course my national fill-in role for Fox News Radio. I don't want to be anywhere else except here and there, but every once in a while, just like I did for about 20-some years, I said, I don't want to go national. I don't want to be a syndicated talk show host, but every once in a while, not even every once in a while, quite often, we are talking about things that I would love to be talking about at the national level. And be careful what you wish for. It all came true. But every once in a while, I wouldn't mind being on Sirius XM satellite radio, where I could just let these, I would just eviscerate them. And they would deserve it. These are lowlifes. I heard a Republican congressman, and he was talking about, of course, Republicans, because it's such a mess right now. He was talking about how he works with a bunch of scumbags. You've heard me use that word. These are scumbags. These are dirtballs. These are monsters. These are horrible people. They know that this case, and I'm just speaking about one of them, the New York Fat Bragg case, that absolutely will not stand. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I know it can't stand. And do you know they don't even tell like the night before Trump's going to find out who the witnesses are. And, of course, they blame him for not being able to tell him. This is the game they play. These are really sick people. You know, I came to the conclusion, and I want to talk about it when we come back. Biden is allowing no leadership, and nobody criticizes him for it except for a handful of people. Me and Sean Hannity and 5 other people. Everybody else just lets it go because he's sucking his thumb and talking about cannibals and milkshakes. You know, he can't even keep his train of thought. There's people all over the place, and he says, "Isn't that where you order a milkshake? I thought that's where you order a milkshake." This is our president. This really happened, what I'm telling you. And I'm going to tell you why when we come back, Biden is allowing all of this sick anti-Semitic things, why he's allowing it to happen. It's 17 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up early in the morning. Wide open forum coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. 8 o'clock hour, I'm going to be covering multiple changes that have been made at, I can now say, multiple schools. I'm efforting to find out just how many schools have done this, but how they have changed their child abuse policies. And not for the better. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we all know why, don't we? Back in a moment. Don't go away. This is The Truth in Broadcasting, early in the morning.
The WPG Talk Radio app is everything South Jersey on your phone and in your car through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Local news, weather, and information updated around the clock from New Jersey's largest radio news team. Easy access to WPG podcasts and more. Powered by Smokers Haven. You'll find the finest selection of cigars at any of their 5 locations. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. Visit SmokersHavenNJ.com.
Fox News commentary.
The uniparty sellouts in the House vote to send another $60 billion to Ukraine and $0 to stop the invasion at our own border. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
After passing another $60 billion in aid to Ukraine, House Democrats could be seen waving Ukrainian flags on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. Waving the flag of another country on the floor of the U.S. House is inappropriate. Sending U.S. tax dollars to another country while our own border is wide open is inexcusable. Another $60 billion in aid, more like funny money, to support Ukraine. This aid package that includes lesser amounts for Israel and Taiwan will most certainly pass the Senate, and Geriatric Joe will sign it. $0 to our own border, 0 policy changes made to stop the invasion, not a nothing. Well, they told us who they represent over there in the House, and all and any of them up for election in November should be politely and promptly retired so they can depart to Ukraine and report for their true duty. What an absolute outrage. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
I'm from Mullica Township.
Cape May.
I'm from Margate.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. 24 minutes past the hour now for my Cracker Jack analysis. That is, yes, candy-coated popcorn, peanuts, and a prize. That's what you get in Cracker Jacks. That's the tune. That's the jingle. Joe Biden, with respect to this anti-Semitism that is absolutely rampant. In fact, it's so bad that today classes at Columbia University will be all virtual as Jewish students say that they feel unsafe. And you have a rabbi who has spoken out about that, actually telling those students they should go back home until or unless this is ever worked out here in America. That's how sick it is. If you remember in the beginning, Biden kind of sort of said the right things. And of course, that got the crazy pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party all crazy lathered up. They went bananas. And you see Biden has protesters everywhere he goes. So what Biden has done is what only he can do. No one. Usually, if you're going to take a tough stand on something, and the wrong stand, at least you would have someone supporting you. But those who support Hamas and hate Israel, they don't think that Biden has gone far enough. And clearly, Biden has not supported Israel like he should. And I'm going to tell you why. Michigan, Minnesota, and states like that. Biden knows that he's going to lose the presidency if something doesn't turn around. I don't care what you're hearing. And look, an NBC poll came out. Trump still leads the national vote. I don't care about that. And I don't want you to care about that. It's easy to default to something that's meaningless. That means nothing. There's about 4 or 5 states. It's not even 7 anymore. 4 or 5 states, and who's ever got the majority of them is going to win. I mean, I can tell you right now, if President Trump wins Pennsylvania and Michigan, you don't have to stay up late. You don't have to worry about anything. It's over. How can I say that? Because I can. Now, Trump could lose both of them and still be the president. But I'm just telling you, I just picked 2 out of 50. If Trump wins the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and Michigan, he is the 47th president of the United States, and he's also the 45th president of the United States. So if you wonder why now they're talking about sanctioning Israel and all these things, who would ever believe that an American president would say these things that these scumbags are saying now? And I'll tell you what, I don't blame the Columbia University rabbi. This is a prominent rabbi, and he has described, quote, an extreme anti-Semitism at the University of Columbia. I mean, Columbia has given these anti-Israelis, other words, anti-Semites, they have given them a liberty zone. And they say that it's free speech. Well, let me ask you something. If the KKK opened up a liberty zone, would Columbia University allow that under free speech? I don't want this and I don't want that. But you know damn well they would shut that down. They'd shut that down in a second. Anything that would have been anti-Muslim, anything that would have been anti-anything except Jewish. For the life of me, and no one's ever been able to tell me why this is, I do not know why Jews and Christians, why it is open season. I'll never understand it. Obviously, I'll never support it in the fake name of free speech or anything. By the way, do you know that Donna Shalala is the president of Columbia? That former Clintonista cabinet secretary? Now look at this. Quote, because of the successful dialogue between the president and the students, there will be no charges for the demonstration. New York Post is reporting that. Oh, really? So there's no charges at all for anti-Semitic behavior. That's fantastic, right? Look at this. Look at this country under Joe Biden. Look what he has broken. And you're telling me that half the country, that this is so close that we don't know, that half of the country would want 4 more years of this? Are you kidding me? I just can't, and I won't believe it.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Hey, thank you. 31 minutes past the hour. Harry Hurley, I've got 3,000 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. That's not an exaggeration. Thousands of stories. Atlantic City High School principal and at least one other elementary school has changed the child abuse policy. We'll be talking about this in depth in the 8 o'clock hour. Criminally charged Atlantic City Mayor is Steve Phillips, co-chairman of his campaign for governor, and yes, the Ocean Club condominiums in the balcony.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Happy Earth Day. Mother Nature treating us to a couple of quiet, pleasant weather days to start the new week. It is chilly this morning. We'll see a high of 60 this afternoon. Mostly sunny and dry across South Jersey. Clear and cool tonight, low 42. Tomorrow, sunshine with late-day clouds and a bit of a breeze, high 63. 68 on Wednesday with a chance of rain, especially in the morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today. This is an important safety.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's the topics that matter to me.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. 36 minutes past the hour. Now, do not take this as empirical, but I'm telling you, it certainly means something. If I post a picture of my rescuing a baby squirrel out of my swimming pool, or I post a picture of my turtle, whose name is Hurdle the Turtle, Hurltle, Hurdle the Turtle. If I post a picture of Hurdle eating a tomato or something, hundreds and hundreds of likes. If I post that we hit the pay dirt and hit number 25 on the Talkers Magazine top 100 most important talk radio hosts in America, which is true, last Wednesday, I guess it was. I forget, it may have been the Wednesday before. I mean, my life's impossible to measure day by day. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of likes and comments. I could go on and on. On April 14th, I posted nothing from me, no words from me, just a flag that read, "I stand with Israel." And the Jewish flag, Jewish star. 52 people liked it. 52. Now, that I know that Facebook limits the number of people. I have the maximum 5,000 that you're allowed to have. On your own page, you can do these fan pages and stuff that can have more, but I have a page that I use. I'm allowed to have 5,000 friends, and they tell you basically 10% see your stuff. It's all Facebook rig job. They limit who can see your stuff and what they can see, and I'm convinced if you do certain things, they let a lot of people see it. If you do other things, they limit. I can't prove that, but I feel it, and I believe it's true what I just said. This had 52 likes, 4 shares, and 52 likes. 52. 52. I'm telling you, there is something about Israel, and you can say the same thing about Christians, that it is open season to trash. I mean, you can't deny it. And it's so bad now, and I don't have time. The list is so long of universities, schools where this anti-Semitism is just epidemic levels. But it's so bad that the Columbia University has all virtual classes today, as Jewish students say, quote, they feel unsafe. Certainly they should. And I'll tell you this, she's in the contention to be VP. I don't think she's going to get it, but she's in contention. This Congresswoman, Elise Stefanik, is just a fabulous member. I really like her. She is calling for the ouster of Columbia's president, who I believe is Donna Shalala. Quote, while Columbia's failed leadership spent hundreds of hours preparing for this week's congressional hearing, it clearly was an attempt to cover up for their abject failure to enforce their own campus rules and protect Jewish students on campus. Stefanik said, quote, over the past few months, and especially the last 24 hours, Columbia's leadership has clearly lost control of its campus, putting Jewish students' safety at risk. Quote, it is crystal clear that Columbia University, previously a beacon of academic excellence founded by Alexander Hamilton, needs new leadership. Now, this says President Shafiq. So that's right. I guess it's not Shalala, but she is a university president. Is she Miami, come to think of it? She might be University of Miami. It is crystal clear, quote, that the Columbia University, previously a beacon of academic excellence founded by Alexander Hamilton, needs new leadership. President Shafiq must resign immediately, and the Columbia Board must appoint a president who will protect Jewish students and enforce school policies. Stefanik accused Columbia's leadership of refusing to, quote, enforce their own policies and condemn Jewish hatred on campus, creating a breeding ground for anti-Semitism and a hotbed of support for terrorism from radicalized faculty and students. You believe that? That's quote unquote. Dozens of students were arrested Thursday, that's last week, after occupying part of the campus as part of protesting the war in Gaza, vowing to stay put until the school divests from companies with ties to Israel. But don't worry, though, because I think we just confirmed for you in the last segment that all the charges have been dropped. Of course they have been. It's okay to be anti-Semitic. It's okay to do these things. It's okay to call for Jews to be annihilated, exterminated. It's okay. We got to have President Trump, though, in a courtroom. What they call hush money, but anywhere else in the world, it would simply be called a non-disclosure agreement. But it's hush money, and that's what they have to make it. They have to make it completely, the appearance completely wrong. God, I'm so sick of these people. So sick of them. When we come back, 3 letters, NBC, and a poll. In just a few minutes. Don't go away. This is.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Get us someone in the White House that's actually going to do something.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
It's well-balanced conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
You know, I'm a little confused. Biden keeps running these commercials that he's going to work to get our freedom back. Well, where did it go? Didn't he take it all? I mean, what are they talking about? He's going to get us our freedom back. Just remember, I'm telling you the truth about this stuff. Everything they say is a lie. And everything they say, the exact opposite of what they say, is true. Like Hillary Clinton saying that President Trump wants to jail his opponents. No, he already had 4 years in office. He didn't do that to anybody. They're trying to do that to him and to people that support him. We've seen that. I mean, these are provable statements. But yeah, I'm a little confused. He keeps running these commercials. He's going to give us our freedom back. What, you mean you took it and you're going to give it back to us? Or what are you trying to imply? It really is a very disjointed, obviously intellectually dishonest theme, because they're the ones that are making these departures from our civil liberties and changing things and weaponizing and lawfare and all these things. It's you. Not only are you not going to be able to solve the problem, you are the problem. NBC poll, and they only polled registered voters, of course, because these people just refuse to poll likely voters. It's kind of silly, isn't it? So President Trump leads. That's good. But the key is the battleground states. And let me give you the latest sort of, if you cume. Oh, by the way, Mark, guest listener Mark, wrote on my Facebook page, I never saw this on my feed. He was listening to my commentary about my post on April 14th. You can always go to my page. If it doesn't show up on your feed, you can go to my page, and you should do that, because we are breaking news that no one else has. Let's see. Mark wrote, I never saw this on my feed, just like you suspected on your radio dialogue. Facebook downplays certain posts for sure. And then he had a hammer and he wrote, nailed it. So, Mark, I liked your comment. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading that. All right, so 1,000 registered voters via cell phone were polled recently between April 12th through April 16th. It allegedly has a margin of error of 3.1 percentage points. And I love this. Anytime Biden leads, he just leads. Whenever it's Trump, they have torturous language. You're going to love this. Listen to this. While Trump appears to have an edge, no, he does have an edge. He leads 46 to 44. But it's always Trump appears to. So here's the language. While Trump appears to have an edge, the margin of error makes it challenging to determine the frontrunner definitively. Isn't that great? Then I say, however, the fluctuation between the two NBC polls suggests a recent shift in voter sentiment. Now, this is how blatantly dishonest they are. The prior survey was Trump 47, Biden 42. Now, there's a 3.1% margin of error, which means 46-44, if they were being honest, they would tell you that this is insignificant, that it's all within the margin of error. In other words, if one day it was 47-42 and another day it was 46-44, nothing has changed. They want you to believe that there's movement towards Biden because they keep telling you that. God, this is just so bad. And get ready, they're trying to do the Kennedy hurts Trump more than he does Biden, but there's a reason the Democrats are flipping out over Kennedy. Just don't believe what they say, watch what they do. That's the important thing. Your phone call's coming up right after the break, and I want to take them for the whole 7 o'clock hour. I hope you'll check in. 609-407-1450 when we come to your calls in the very near future. Bill Barr did exactly what I thought he would do. He can't support Biden. He knows Biden's a disaster, and he doesn't like Trump. So what he does is he endorses Trump, but not in a ringing endorsement kind of way. So he basically says the Biden administration, quote, is in fact the greater threat to democracy. Now understand something, Bill Barr. Trump is no threat to democracy. He doesn't come after anyone. He lets the media have it verbally, but he doesn't come after them. Doesn't try to jail them. None of the stuff that Hillary is saying is true. It's all lies. Barr went on to say, quote, I think they have a totalitarian temper, meaning Biden's team. They have brought into the progressive movement, and they're trying to squelch opposition and freedom of speech. It's a heavy-handed bunch of thugs, in my opinion, and that's where the threat is. Then they say Barr, who had a tumultuous end to his term in the Trump administration due to disagreements, said that the choice in the upcoming election compels him to support Trump. Quote, I'm not happy with the choice. Hey, Bill, I am. I'm very happy. I'm happy you're not happy. Quote, I'm not happy with the choice. I think it's a terrible choice for the country, but it is a choice at the end of the day. Terrible, terrible saying, by the way, at the end of the day. I'm not sure that you've ever heard me ever say that. I've heard people say it. At the end of the day, quote, we have to select between two individuals. While endorsing Trump, Barr highlighted his policy alignment with the former president. Quote, I was fine with his policies. I think his policies were good policies. My problems came with his behavior, which I found very troubling after the election. Yeah, well, what would you do if you were on your way to a second term, the whole sort of historical significance of winning 2 terms makes you a winner? If you win, you have won the presidency, but if you lose your reelection bid, you like Jimmy Carter is a loser. And I liked him a lot, but George H.W. Bush, loser. When you lose, it takes the luster off. George W. Bush, 2-term winner. Obama, 2-term winner. Clinton, 2-term winner. Clinton has the distinction, I don't know if he's the only president, but there aren't many. He won both times with, 43% of the popular vote in 92, and I think 46, something like that, 47% in 1996 against Bob Dole. He never got a majority. Might be a little higher than that, actually, but it was in the 40s for sure. This is what I was telling you about 45 minutes ago. The United States, under creepy Joe Biden, is contemplating imposing sanctions on more Israeli military and police units. Netanyahu had something to say about that. It would be unprecedented for America to do that. But you know what? Keep telling them that their answer is a 2-state solution. Like that is a really good idea, that you should just agree to something like that when that other state, if you will, I use that term very loosely, wants your extermination from the planet. I don't think that's going to go so good. Terry Anderson, he was an AP reporter. He was held captive for a number of years. I want to say something like 8 years, something like that. He has died at age 76. And I remember talking about his best-selling book, which chronicled his abduction. He had a torturous imprisonment by Islamic militants. He wrote in 1993, we were on air about a year or two at the time, a memoir called Den of Lions. I vividly remember reviewing that book in real time. It's a long time ago. It's gone by. It's all gone by so very quickly. He died yesterday at his home in Greenwood Lake, New York. His daughter confirmed it. We have your calls coming up, and don't go away right after the break. 609-407-1450. Call me now.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. 6 minutes past the hour. As promised, right to your phone calls. How about this quick little mini comment, though? Not a monologue. Just this little mini quick comment. Have you been hearing how all the different newscasts cover, not just here, everywhere, are covering how today, the jury's selected, but today Judge Merchan will decide what previous things about Trump can be brought in. Do you realize that when a sexual pedophile who has been convicted of raping little children, if they have other charges, you can't bring up the other ones? Do you realize that? Because our system is made that you can't, it would prejudice it. Oh my God, if the jury knew that this person did it before, then they would find that he did it again. Trump doesn't even get the consideration of a sexual predator, of a child sexual predator. Just understand that. And I can give you an exact case. Judge Donio, and he made the right decision. Great judge. Wish he was still, on the bench. He's retired, and he's earned that. Great assignment judge, much better than Blee, much better judge. And Donio had a case. It just so happens my wife Margie was on the case, and she never talked to me about the case. Even to this day, she's never talked about the case. But they had a case involving an alleged, who previously had been a convicted child pedophile, a sexual child assaulter. But none of that, the jurors could never find out about that. But here this Merchan might say, yeah, you can bring up E. Jean Carroll, and you can bring up this, and you can bring up Oh, you can't show the Access Hollywood tape, but maybe you can talk about it. I am so sick of these people. I'm sick of being sick of them. And I'm telling you, I can't wait. My God, the only thing I don't have an answer for is if some nightmare happens on November 5th. Because you have to understand, in Bizarro world, there are no guarantees. These Democrats cheat. They invent ways to create votes. Don't forget, I came in every day at 3 a.m. and saw thousands and tens of thousands and ultimately hundreds of thousands of votes in Pennsylvania. I remember when Trump was up by like 400 or 500,000 votes. And I said, hey, look, it's not over. They're going to be dumping votes every night at 2, 3 in the morning. And I always wondered, why did they do it at 2 and 3 in the morning and not at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And you know why. Hey, you can all leave. We're done. Hey, we're Atlanta, Georgia. We're done counting for the night. You can all leave. Hey, we got a pipe broke upstairs. We can't count anymore because the restroom has a flood. Oh, we can't count anymore because the restroom has a flood? Which has nothing to do. It's not flooding where we are. Oh, yeah, we're done. You can go now. And then, boom, they just start counting all over again by themselves. I mean, you have to understand, it's what they do. And then they tell you if you don't agree with that last election, that you're some kind of election denier. But it's okay. They don't agree with Trump's election of 2016. That's fine. Hillary still hasn't accepted that he is legitimately the president. But that's fine. Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, the whole Peanuts gallery, you're all good. You can dispute anything you want. Kemp didn't win in Georgia because Stacey, almost Governor Abrams, even though she wasn't even close, didn't win. Oh, that's cheating. It's racism. It's cheating. But if Trump wins, he didn't win. But Biden won, and they call it the clean election, and you can't dispute it. These are the rules. How do you like them? Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well.
I'm actually driving down the expressway, and I listen to the show on my phone every day.
Thank you.
I'm a law enforcement officer, been for 18 years. Prior to that, I was a former Marine, served in the Iraq War.
Wow.
I could go on about a ton of things.
Well, let me first thank you for your service, all of it. And you're not a former Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Thank you for your service. Time is yours.
Yes, sir. So, what I'm really disappointed in is our system right now. What they are, I work in an inner city, and it's a rough area I work in, and the system's not fair. It's not fair even to the inner city. But what really gets me is what they are doing throughout this country to law enforcement.
Yeah.
And what really aggravates me is this pro-Hamas activity that's being allowed in our country.
Yep.
People got to wake up. I think a lot of blame has to be put on parents today because they're not raising their children the way they should morally. There is no conviction. There is no love for country anymore. This country is fallen, and we need to get it back. And I don't know how we're going to get it back. Would
you have believed you fought for our country, and we thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice. Would you ever have imagined, and now you serve as a law enforcement officer on top of that, double winner as far as I'm concerned, huge winner. Would you have ever believed that we would allow death to America chance in our country?
You know what? When I heard that, I was disgusted. When I say disgusted, it was hurtful to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to friends of mine who also served overseas, and we're like, what's going on in this country? What they are doing to this country and what they are allowing, and to hear things like that, it's disgusting, and it's fearful because I'm raising children, and I hope I'm raising them right. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen to this country? And where are my children going to be? Is my son going to have to go fight another war? Is my son going to have to live in this, what they're calling a democracy, when it's not? It's really not a democracy.
Well, a very big part of this is going to be the next 6 months. Are they going to get away with stealing this? Are they going to get away with winning on November 5th? Because if they do, I hate to say it, and I've never said it in my 32-year broadcasting career, I think we lose the country if they win again. This election is for everything.
I agree 100%. And I believe that President Trump, and I don't know how people don't like him. I mean, honestly, I don't understand how people don't like the man. He cares about the country, cares about his family, and what they're doing to him is a disgrace.
And look how he supports the military. Look how he supports Israel. He was the first president. They all said it, including Biden, all of them. Obama before that, President Bush, all of them have said it for basically our whole adult lifetime, all the way back to Reagan even. They said that Jerusalem will be the capital, elect me, Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel. They all said it, Republicans and Democrats. Trump's the only one that did it. Trump brought people to the table that have never come to the table. The Abraham Accords are absolutely just revolutionary. They're so significant. And in fact, they've been utilized during this particular controversy, even with Biden's wishy-washy approach, where he's just trying to say that, Hamas, is just misunderstood and, we got to do all this, by Palestine and all this. So you have all this going on. I couldn't agree with you more. Trump's support of the military, Trump's support of the police, Trump's support of wages for all demographics in our country, for low energy, for low inflation. I mean, you wouldn't even think this could even be close.
No, I mean, I don't believe the polls. I think they're all lies. I heard people. I was in a diner in EHT yesterday, and I heard a group of men speaking, and everything out of their mouths was completely 100% true, that the Democratic Party is destroying this country. And Joe Biden saying Hamas is misunderstood is an evil statement. I don't even think that man is running this country. But to sit there and say that Hamas is misunderstood after they murdered innocent men, women, and children.
And imagine him telling Israel, you can't defend yourself, you can't attack, and you have to settle for a two-state solution. How do you negotiate with a terrorist organization that its very principle is your extermination from the planet?
I fought these people. My unit was the hardest hit unit in Iraq. We lost 49 men. We had over 200 wounded in 2005 in Al Anbar, Providence. 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines. I remember dealing with these people from all over the world that came to fight us, right? Yeah, we lost a lot of men, but we took care of business.
You did.
But at the end of the day, these people are living in a 7th century mindset, and they are not going to change. This isn't about right or wrong. This is about a radical ideology, and it is not going to stop. My uncle, I went to college in Austria back in the 90s, overseas. I went for a semester. He was a CIA agent, right? Worked for the government. Wasn't a spy. Like, he read maps for a living. Satellites during the Cold War. He moved to Germany, lived in Heidelberg. I went and visited him. He said, Phil, when you go out and walk around Heidelberg today, I want you to tell me what you observe. I came back. He asked me that question. What did you observe today? I said, there's a lot of Muslim people here. This is back in 1993 or 1994. He goes, the Muslims are going to overtake Europe within the next 25 to 30 years. And he's right. Right?
Well, I mean, look who's the mayor in England right now. I mean, come on. I mean, it is absolutely, it's a population thing. And you talked about the mindset. They are in the long ball mentality. They never quit. They never stop. Bin Laden's gone. We're going to get Bin Laden's son. What do you think the chances are in our lifetime that Osama bin Laden's son will attack America? What would you give those odds, Bill?
I would say highly likely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I can tell you this. I've dealt with these people firsthand. I've interviewed them. I've been in interviews with them. They are in the mindset of, we don't care. We're going to do what we got to do and do what you're going to do because we're going to continue doing what we're doing. And until you stop it, like Hamas, they need to be eradicated. But what really needs to be eradicated is, and I say this with a heart, the Iranian people are really loving people, right? But you got to cut the head off of the snake. Until we cut the head off the snake, that Iranian regime, you're never going to have total success in the Middle East and in the world until you get rid of that regime.
It's an honor. It's an honor to take your call. I don't want to, but I have to go. I hope you'll call me again sometime.
Yeah, I will. It's great talking to you.
Really good to talk to you, and thank you again for everything you've done in your lifetime so far. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think that makes my day, that is the kind of person that we have that listens to the program every day, a Marine, a police officer. I didn't just say two people. That's one person. The last caller, Bill. Wow. What an honor to take your call, Marine. More of your calls right after this. Don't go away. You'll be next. You'll be right after that. It's the Hurley in the Morning program. Bill, your call was so meaningful to me. I hope you realize that.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
It's a woke society, and I'm fed up with it.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Nobody cares what Joe Biden thinks. And the saddest part of all of this, and I think this will have political reverberations in the end, is he has literally, we've learned now, surrendered any war on terrorism or any ability to morally speak out against terrorists. And sadly, he has in the process been emboldening radical Islamic terrorists in the process. I mean, every single time that Joe Biden has been chastising Israel to have a ceasefire, how they need to fight the war, how they have to be more precise and don't go to Rafah, or as he calls it, Haifa, because he doesn't know the difference. Everything that he has been saying, nobody has been listening to.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
All right, winter's officially left the building, so why not spring forward and freshen up your home with new premium window treatments from our friends at Blinds.com. Now, Blinds.com, they created a better way to shop for stylish blinds and shades and shutters and even motorized options. Everything is 100% online. Now, you can do the measure and install yourself, or just let the pros at Blinds.com handle it. Now, you can have multiple window coverings installed for just one low cost. And if you're not sure what's best for maybe an odd-shaped window or to block the sun on your patio, well, Blinds.com, they have design professionals that will help you for free. And they'll send free samples directly to you. Plus, with Blinds.com, you always get transparent pricing on their website. Never any hidden fees, no hassle, no multiple trips to a store. Blinds.com has free shipping and their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Just shop right now at Blinds.com. Save up to 45%. Get up to 45% off for a limited time when you go to Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Mays Landing.
I'm from Mullica Township.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG.
Each state.
Ocean City.
Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back 26 minutes past the hour. Dan says hello there. Hi, Dan.
Harry, I watched the Mayorkas business with Senator Kennedy and Senator Paul when they were grilling him.
Yeah.
Asked them a basic question. They set up the premise of this parole system where you can come in, but you can only come in under two circumstances, very clearly written circumstances. That personal compelling, I guess, if you know somebody in your family had cancer and that would be a condition you could come over in, and you have to be a benefit for the United States.
Yeah.
And that's the parole program in a nutshell. And when they asked Mayorkas about it, he said they not personally, but they individually reviewed every case. And you and I know they didn't review 1.2 million people. They rubber stamped them.
That is
because
correct.
It was all about capacity, right?
Correct.
So if you're voting in November, and you know the sham that they ran with this impeachment business, where President Trump, he had those managers got to strut around there and do their complete presentations, and you know what it was all about. A couple of phone calls, right?
Yeah, a couple of perfect phone calls. Just kidding, but nothing wrong, nothing impeachable, and yet they didn't throw them out. They had the full-blown trial on them. These are liars. These are very bad people. They're monsters. And they're dishonest as can be. They didn't want the weeks of testimony to show what this Biden administration has done to America. So they had to short circuit it. They knew taking that sort of butt whooping for the obvious political nature of that, it's like why Biden will not debate Trump. Even though that's going to look very weak and it's not going to be a good optic, they know him actually debating Trump is worse than any grief they take for being afraid to debate. And, of course, they're going to blame Trump for why they can't debate.
And amazing, when they're taking Donald Trump off the campaign trail, and all these trials are, I believe, they're emanating from Washington. And
well, we know they are. To go one by one. We know that that Bragg has on his team a guy from the Biden Justice Department. We know who was there before, who left and then wrote the book in real time because he was so unhappy that Bragg wasn't charging Trump. Then Bragg decided he would charge Trump, and he bootstrapped statute of limitations gone by 6 years. So he threw a federal offense into it, and this is the corrupt nature of what I'll tell you. I don't know how Trump keeps it together. Most people would have just flipped out by now.
I would ask for immediate relief from the Supreme Court based on the fact that these trials were brought unfairly.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is, though, they want things to play out. Before it would come to them, they're the court of last resort, so it's very unusual for them. But this is so egregious, and they are taking, they are playing election interference here, that I think the Supreme Court should stop all this. But I don't think they're going to. I think they'll ultimately decide in Trump's favor, and that's not like a home, cooking decision, but there's no there. But they understand that they're corrupt and they're going to get away with it until they lose on appeal, and then it doesn't matter.
It's amazing. And then Mayorkas says, I'll just stick to my previous answer.
Yeah, right.
Wait a minute. You never answered the question, and when you answered it, you lied.
Yeah.
And that's your previous answer, that you let all these people, 1.2 million, and that's where all the bad guys get in under that umbrella.
Well, look how long it took him to finally admit that it's a crisis.
Well, it took him basically the whole route.
Yes, it took until the election year where it's undeniable. The truth is so self-evident that he could no longer get away with that answer.
And all these things that happened, we'll say, on January 6th, and all the unfair, and there's some people who did some bad stuff, so they should be punished. But the people who didn't, you have to line them up against all the protests you see and blocking bridges and everything that's out there now. And then the summer of love,
yep,
when they were burning things. Well, were there?
And Biden and Harris were bailing people out of jail. In many cases, violent people out of jail. Keep in mind, the Supreme Court's very close. I heard 7 of the 9 justices. I know how they're going to rule. There are a lot of January 6th folks in jail right now that are going to be released.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
by the way, the decision might actually end one of the Trump trials before it even begins. Trump's going to start getting some good news. It's not going to be all bad news, from here until November 5th. Sorry.
Yeah, and that award in Georgia for questioning the ladies of that night, and $180 million against Giuliani trying to bankrupt him.
It's so bad.
But the idea is, we saw, and you're a journalist, and you're a reporter, and you're a bit of an investigative reporter, and a good one. But if the rule is that you cannot count these votes unless there are observers, and you basically full out scam with that water leak,
yeah,
the main break.
Oh my God! Yeah, the toilet broke, Dan. Oh my God, we can't count anymore. The toilet broke.
So what? So why should these people get an award?
Hey, by the way, I got to credit Don Hurley. He saw the way the election night was going. The media wasn't calling Florida. They stopped the counting in more than just Georgia. He predicted. He said they're going to stop counting because they can't allow this to happen. And then it all changed. If you noticed, I am so suspect about the 2020 election. So incredibly suspect.
As suspect as Hillary was, and Stacey was, and Klobuchar was, and Kamala was about the 2016.
Yeah, but they never had any good reason. They just didn't want to accept who won. They couldn't accept that Kemp won. They couldn't accept that Trump won. I'm suspect because of things that my eyes saw. I mean, I watched those bins come out from underneath those tables in Georgia. I mean, what Why will no one explain? What is that? Who does that? Jack Chittarelli?
Well, I watched the cardboard go up in Michigan as well.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you can't see in here anymore. They put cardboard up. Who would ever cover themselves away if they weren't doing something a little fishy? And keep in mind, that's why Biden has to go this route, this pro-Hamas route, an anti-Israel route, because he'll lose Michigan. It's his only way to win Michigan. He's got to get all those crazy America haters, Jew haters, he's got to get all of them back. And at the same time, hope he keeps that same majority of Jewish support. And that's a great trick. If you can pull that one off, if you get the Jew haters and you get the Jews, then I don't even know what to say.
Amazing stuff, Harry.
It is. Talk to you soon. See you, Dan. More of your calls, I promise, right after the break. You'll be next. Don't go away. It is the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
35 minutes past the hour. Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. I'll squeeze in 4 because I have multiple items about the Atlantic City High School principal and at least one other elementary school in Atlantic City changing their child abuse policy. And guess what? You're going to one day have to explain, why did you do that? And not for the better. The criminally charged mayor of Atlantic City is Steve Fulop's campaign co-chairman. Wow, that's sick. And Fulop says nothing. And
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. It's pretty cold out there this morning as temperatures have fallen deep into the 30s away from the coast. We'll see a high around 60 today. Mostly sunny skies and dry weather. Sounds like a nice April day to me. Clear and cool tonight, low 42. Tomorrow, more sunshine with late-day clouds. A bit breezier, high 63. 68 on Wednesday. Next chance of showers will be Wednesday morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
I listen every morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
yeah, they're going crazy right now at Columbia University. You've got police on board. You've got hundreds of them, I think. Hundreds of students that are rabidly anti-Israel. How come? So disproportionate to reality. 609-407-1415 open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. How you doing?
Peter, I am well. Thank you.
You know something? Sometimes you just got to take a break from the news and literally sit back and take a deep breath. And I was thinking about my grandpa's best friend. He was, you could say, my grandpa's best bud from the old country. And the funny thing is the way he came over, well, first of all, he skipped out on an arranged marriage because those things were in Europe, the old Europe and everything. Hitchhiked to the nearest coast, stowed away aboard a freighter coming to this country. They found him, so they think, well, it's not like the old days where you make him walk the plank, so they hired him to work his fare off, you could say, when he was listed on the crew list, when he entered New York, got paid, and believe it or not, skipped out on them, and he came here. Now, the thing is, he did become a naturalized American citizen later on. But, you know, the funny, ironic thing is he was never a burden. He worked for Con Edison for about 35 years.
Well, that's how, as you know, Peter, and you have a real-life story, a family story, the people that came here back in the day, they wanted to contribute. They came to work hard and to live the American dream. What these Democrats in our country have done, they've turned this into a nightmare where people expect to come here, in many cases, be against America and take all of this kindness at the same time.
And here's the kicker. Now, he eventually remarried and settled in and all. And he and my grandpa, they went out for a couple drinks. And the funny thing is, a lot of people were buying him drinks, and they're pointing. He couldn't. My grandpa's friend couldn't figure it out. So they left the bar. So he says, Pete, everybody was buying me drinks and pointing at me. Oh, he says, I forgot to tell you. I told him that you're Khrushchev's twin brother.
Oh, jeez. That's funny.
Now, if you were to take a look at him, he had the same facial features, build, the whole 10 yards.
Did he bang his shoe on the table just for effect?
And the thing was, he just stopped and he said, Pete, this is the last time we go out, go drinking. Yeah. I'm not saying there were, disturbance but face it, back in the day and everything. But I'll tell you, not only that, but they were very good friends to the family and all, even though there was no blood relation. But I'd like to share this one story my mom did. She shared with me when I got older. When I got baptized, just like any big event, family event, of course, you have a reception and everything. My mom came over and she says, Tony, can you hold Peter? I'll be right back. He goes, okay. Now, he was sitting down. She told me he was sitting down and he had you in his lap and he had you what in one arm. Of course, I was very little then, and he had a glass of beer in the other hand. So somebody called his name. He turned. When my mom came back, he said, Marge. He goes, yeah, Tony. Just so you should know, I baptized Peter again.
That's a good one. Peter, as I say goodbye, let me be one of the first. It's fast approaching. It's not yet. I know it's a little way off, but be one of the first to wish you a happy 64th birthday as it approaches, Peter.
Well, that is until September.
I understand. Hey,
okay.
look, this is almost out of the fourth month of the year. This year is flying by in the blink of an eye, Peter.
Okay, but have a blessed day.
You too, Peter. And I got you by a couple months. Have a great one. Tom, you're on deck. Hang in there. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. It's a shame that we just want to hold on to our constitutional America, which will benefit everybody.
Yeah.
But the Democrats want to tear it the heck down. It's just
well, they have to. They have to burn the house down to rule the ashes and then rebuild it in their socialist dream. It's remarkable. They should be right now opposed like 90% to 10%. It should be so objectionable what they want to do, what they have done to this country.
Yeah. Now, there's two types of hadiths. The hadiths are the companion book to the Quran, and the Sahih hadith is the authentic hadith, and the Da'if hadith is the weak hadith. This is a Sahih or authentic or strong hadith. You will fight against the Jews, and you will gain victory over them. On that day, the stones will cry out, "Oh, slave of Allah, there's a Jew hiding behind me, so come and kill him." So the radical Islamist religion, that radical Islamist part of Islam, wants to kill all Jewish people. So what do you expect Jewish people to do? They're in a little island in an ocean of hostility. So they're fighting for their survival. Looks like it. I never said that there's not. They say that they're not real Jews. That
why would even answer me this question, Flash? Why would even one American Jew vote for Joe Biden?
There isn't one.
Well, he's going to get. I'm telling you, he's going to get at least 70% of the Jewish vote.
Well, take a look at. It was Margaret Sanger who actually was a Democrat and supported the Democrat Party, who wanted to have Jews, Slavs, blacks, and Italians exterminated. But Slavic people are Orthodox, but they're also Catholic. So Catholics and blacks and Jews primarily vote Democrat. It's the cognitive dissonance you can cut through with a knife. Thanks.
Thank you, Flash. Good to talk to you. Tom, you are next right after the break. Tom, in the inlet of the world's playground. Next on the Hurley in the Morning program.
Mark Levin,
The greatest danger to you, my fellow Americans, is Joe Biden. He's destroying our economy. He's destroying our supply chain. He's destroying our energy system. He's destroying small business. He wants to tax you into oblivion. He wants your money. The only reason they want to raise taxes is so they can control you, so they can control what you earn.
Mark Levin on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Biden is going to drive this country into the ground.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
He's doing a good job. I think that gentleman is correct. 6 minutes before the top of the hour. Hey, Tom, welcome to the Hurley in the Morning program.
Good morning, Harry. Tom from the Inlet, and thanks for taking my call. Harry, the reason I'm calling is I heard on Fox News, and I'm sure you did, and most of your listeners, because they're all well-informed, that this kangaroo court that President Trump has to spend, they say around 2 months, 5 days, 4 days a week. But yet these creeps, and I know I'm on the radio, so I'm going to just use something.
Thank you.
Not too bad. I want you around for another 32 years.
Thank you.
But you're welcome, Harry. But it really bothers me, Harry. It does, because I've been to a lot of them, and I'm sure you have with your family. High school reunion. High school graduation for your child. It's a big day for your child, you, and the entire family. And they're denying a former sitting president, and I also believe that he will be reelected in November the 5th, not able to take one stinking day off and attend his son's graduation. It's terrible.
Here's my prediction, Tom, and I'm the only one that I'm hearing say this. Judge Merchan is going to allow President Trump to go to Barron's. By the way, I hear he's 6 feet 9 inches now. He's gigantic.
Yeah,
he's gigantic.
18 years old.
Yeah, he towers over President Trump, who's like 6'4". So I predict he is going to let him go. And then that is to make it look like he's just such an even-handed, fair judge. He let him go. He could have been small and told him no. He let him go. He's such a fair judge. This is a scam, Tom. He's going to let him go.
I'm glad to hear your opinion.
And again, that is only my opinion. He has not approved it yet. We'll approve. We'll look at that when we get closer. Well, you got to make plans now. It's like saying, I'm getting married. Can I get off for my wedding? Well, I'll let you know when you get closer. Well, no, we got to reserve a hall and hire people and invite people. Now, this guy, he is a lowlife, this Judge Merchan.
No question about it. Yeah, well, I hope you're right, Harry, for the sake of Barron and his family. That sounds like maybe something he would do just to play the card.
Yep, that's what he's going to do.
Okay, Harry, take care, and I'll be talking to you.
Good to talk to you, my friend. Be well.
Thank you, Harry. Bye now.
Thank you, Tom. 2 minutes before the top of the hour, we can get him one more phone call real quick. And then just a quick programming note. Right after the news break, please don't miss it. I'm going to share with you the policy for child abuse was changed at Atlantic City High School. We're going to talk about that. And now we have confirmed that it's been changed at least one of the elementary schools. My suspicion is that this was quite a small deal. This is a broad change that was made, not something that was just made in one school. We now know it's two, and we're on course right now to find out how many, if there are more. I don't know that there are, but we're working it. But I'm going to give you two when we come back after the top of the hour break. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Harry. It's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
You know me as an 82-year-old guy, but when I was younger, I worked for GE Missile and Space, and I worked on a program that stopped the Soviets from attacking us. At that time, Khrushchev at the UN banged on the desk with his shoe and said, "We will bury you." And apparently, President Eisenhower took it very seriously, and we developed a system that stopped them. You can look it up. It's called the Cold War Warriors. I was a member of that team.
Okay.
So anyway, I never got your text. Can you resend your text so I can get
Well,
it?
you did get it because you told me it was the wrong number. You did get it, Paul. We had a conversation about it. I'm telling you, the guy that wanted to talk to you gave me a number. I repeated the number to him. He said, that's correct. I texted the number to you. You got it because you called him and you told me that it was the wrong number. And I said, well, Paul, he's going to have to call again and I'll have to take it down again because I don't know who he is and I have no way. I just know that I took the number down correctly because I'm always careful with that kind of thing. I repeat the number to the individual because you never know. Every once in a while somebody says, oh, no. And you go, oh, good, I'm glad we covered that. I can't help you any further on that, Paul.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. It's 6 minutes past the hour. I need the first part of the hour to just unfold some information for you. And I hope, but it's up to you, I hope you will want to comment thereafter because we have to fix, there are some very, very serious things that are broken that we have to fix. And we can do it. And it will take all of us banding together to do it because the people right now that have the power, although now they're on the run quite a bit, but they were emboldened to feel that they could just, whatever you had to say doesn't matter to us. We're, screw you. We're doing what we want. I want there to be an investigation. It cannot happen for Shea Steele. You've got all these people that they're in the pocket politically. They have jobs, their spouses have jobs, and they're completely aligned with the problem people. So that's never going to be the solution. Hey, let's go to the problem for the solution. No, it doesn't work good. You might remember the former Atlantic City Board of Education President John Devlin confirmed in a live interview that I conducted with him here on the Hurley in the Morning program on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 that there were policy changes regarding child abuse at Atlantic City High School. Well, I broke a story over the weekend, and it'll be the second part of this sort of dual monologue, a second example of a child abuse policy change at another Atlantic City public school. So on the first one at Atlantic City High School, the change came at a time when Marty and LaQuetta Small ally Constance Days Chapman became the principal of Atlantic City High School. Days Chapman was Marty Small's campaign manager for his run for mayor of Atlantic City. Devlin previously confirmed that the Board of Education vote to hire Days Chapman actually failed. She did not get the requisite number of votes to become the principal, yet for inexplicable reasons, I wonder how they feel about it now, the state of New Jersey overruled the Board of Education and hired Days Chapman anyway. Because for whatever reason, and I still never understood it, because I do believe they have the capacity to do the right thing, but whatever Marty Small wanted, he got, no matter how crazy it was. Hey, we want to hire criminals. No problem. Anything went. We have obtained a copy of a narrative that is in Devlin's possession regarding this policy change. I now have a copy of it. I did not get it through John, but because of the article that I wrote over the weekend, I got a copy of the audio. So I have it now. But let me read to you. This is from Devlin. There is an audio recording taken by staff at the first staff meeting at the high school on September 1, 2022. The recording has Days Chapman changing the reporting procedure for incidents such as child abuse. She tells staff that they are to report it to the main office, that they are not to first go and report it to DCP&P, that's the Division of Child Protective Services. So they are to report it to the principal, not to DCP&P and the police. She, Days Chapman, was questioned by staff in that meeting, and she reiterates the policy change. See, in the past, if a student came to a teacher and said, I am being emotionally and physically abused by my parents, hypothetically, they reported that. But now they're told not to report it. The procedure has changed. They're to report it to the principal. And that is why the two staff members brought the most recent issue of child abuse that we're aware of. I'm hearing there are other examples that are going to be coming out. But the one that we've been covering, the two staff members brought it to the principal. And Devlin's comment went on to continue that staff has been intimidated into this closed society where they're not supposed to tell anything outside of the school. In other words, they keep their bad news hidden. The communication goes on to say that this alone should end the employment of the principal and be enough to take her certificate and end Days Chapman's career in education. Time will tell on that. The Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office has publicly stated that two staff members wanted to report the child abuse allegations, but they were prevented from being able to do so by Days Chapman, who told the two staff members that she would be reporting the abuse allegations to DCP&P, and this is according to the Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office official criminal charging documents. According to the Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office, the New Jersey Department of Child Protective Services, DCP&P, has confirmed that Days Chapman never reported the child abuse allegations to them. In fact, no one from the school had, which of course would be the case because they were directly ordered not to do so. But they left believing the principal would report it. But instead, she didn't, and then went to the child's parents' home and ratted the child out, are the allegations. The Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office has previously confirmed that Days Chapman has been criminally charged with second-degree official misconduct. It's an awful charge. It's just terrible. You would never want that in your life. Third-degree hindering apprehension of another. Fourth-degree obstruction of justice. Disorderly person's failure to report child abuse. And I'm on a cause that's got to change. That can't be a disorderly person's offense. If you don't report child abuse, I think that should be at least a crime of the second degree. Marty and LaQuetta Small also face serious criminal charges from the Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office. Marty Small faces the following criminal charges: second degree endangering the welfare of a child, third degree aggravated assault, third degree terroristic threats, and disorderly person simple assault. LaQuetta Small faces these criminal charges: second degree endangering the welfare of a child, 3 separate counts of disorderly persons, simple assault. Should these criminal charges be proven to be true in a court of law, this would constitute monstrous behavior committed by the accused. It would be outrageously evil and wrong. When we come back from the break, I'm going to share a second example, a second Atlantic City Public School where they have changed the child abuse policy. And again, the question begs, why? Why would they do that? And I think now everyone knows why. We'll be back right after this. It is the Hurley in the Morning program.
Hurley in the Morning.
If you really want to know what's happening in Atlantic City, it's Harry Hurley every single morning.
WPG Talk
that's
Radio,
right.
95.5.
Thank you. Mayor of the Morning.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
We need to do what's best for this country.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It is approaching 20 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up early in the morning. If you missed the opening segment here in this hour, please check out the podcast later today. When it's uploaded, you can download it, because I covered the first instance where we've been able to confirm a change in the child abuse policy. See, Devlin, when he was board president, he wanted, and they hired experts. He wanted to completely revamp the child abuse policy, not the way they did. To say, no, you can't report that anymore. You give it to me, and then I'll report it. Oh, I didn't report it? Oh, sorry. No, that's not what people wanted. That did not improve things. So now we find out it's not just Atlantic City High School. Because of our coverage, people are reaching out, and I urge teachers right now, anyone with knowledge of the situation, do what others have been doing. Since the numerous criminal charges have been filed against Marty Small, LaQuetta Small, and Constance Days Chapman, the floodgates have opened. People are getting courage. People feel hope. Look, I don't blame anybody. If you thought sticking your neck out was going to get your head cut off and you weren't going to accomplish anything, I understand why people are afraid that they're going to get fired, they're going to get suspended, they're not going to get promoted, they're going to get screwed over in other ways. I understand that. But I can tell you, people have been reaching out to us to report problems within the Atlantic City public school system. We recently confirmed, both on the digital platform of WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and also here on the Hurley in the Morning as recent as last segment, that the child abuse policy at Atlantic City High School was changed by Constance Days Chapman, the currently suspended principal of Atlantic City High School, the criminally charged, formerly suspended principal. The policy changes prevented staff members from directly reporting allegations of child abuse to the New Jersey Department of Child Protective Services, known as DCP&P. Instead, Days Chapman instructed staff members to report such instances to her central office. When such an instance was brought to Days Chapman, the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office is charged that Days Chapman did not report the allegations to DCP&P. Instead, it is alleged that Days Chapman went directly to the home of the parents of the student and told them that their child had reported emotional and physical abuse. DCP&P has confirmed to the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office that Days Chapman did not report the child abuse allegations to them. Days Chapman is criminally charged with second-degree official misconduct, third-degree hindering apprehension of another, fourth-degree obstruction of justice, disorderly persons, failure to report child abuse. Whew, awful. Marty Small is criminally charged with second-degree endangering the welfare of a child, third-degree aggravated assault, third-degree terroristic threats, disorderly person simple assault, and LaQuetta Small. And believe it or not, they still haven't taken action about LaQuetta Small. Can you believe these unconscionable people? Shay Steele, shame on you. You are a public disgrace. Shame on you. Outrageous. You've got the superintendent criminally charged with multiple crimes alleged, and they've taken no action. It's got to be, over a week? The board president, one public statement. We meet on April 23rd, which is tomorrow. What a disgrace. Do you know, just to prove a point, they very well may not suspend her tomorrow, and you won't find an example anywhere in the country, probably anywhere in the world, where a superintendent is criminally charged with child abuse issues and that they're permitted to stay in the position. Look, you're going to you suspended the principal with pay. This thing is going to go on for a long time. And the right thing to do would be to suspend the superintendent. And, of course, you'll suspend her with pay as well. Because there's so many conflicted people here unwilling to do the right thing. We can now confirm that a second Atlantic City public school has also changed its child abuse policy. And it reads, and I have it in writing, quote, suspected cases of child abuse should be reported to the school principal and then the school nurse to determine further action. And again, teachers used to report things because it's the right thing to do. They're professionals, certificated professionals, and if somebody comes to them and says, I'm in danger, I am emotionally and physically being assaulted, abused, that person has always had an obligation. You know, I got to give them credit because they know these monsters in these positions. And these two staff members went and did what they were told and still wanted to report it, but they were told, you can't. I will report it. And then allegedly, and I'm using the word allegedly just to be professional, allegedly the principal did not report it. And DCP&P has confirmed that's not in dispute. DCP&P has confirmed to the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office that the Atlantic City High School principal did not report the emotional and child abuse allegations. The present theory about why they've put these changes into effect at now multiple Atlantic City public schools is because of Marty and LaQuetta Small. The theory is that the Smalls' cousin, Cayenne Frazier, who was a substitute teacher within the Atlantic City public school system, Frazier previously pled guilty in federal court in February of 2021 to one count of child exploitation involving sexual abuse and child pornography. Frazier, again, the cousin of Marty and LaQuetta Small, and its bloodline is on LaQuetta's side, that Frazier is her cousin, Marty through marriage. Frazier was sentenced to 20 years plus 1 month in federal prison. John Devlin previously told us that when he was the president of the Atlantic City Board of Education, he offered a wide-ranging investigation into Frazier from several fronts. First, Devlin wanted a thorough investigation to exactly what, where, and when Frazier exploited and sexually abused minor child number one, and to determine if other children in Atlantic City had been exploited and sexually abused. Devlin also wanted the investigation to determine exactly how Frazier was able to obtain employment with the state of New Jersey after leaving the Atlantic City teaching position in the unfavorable manner that he did. Devlin advised that the investigation was short-circuited at the administration board level and that the firm that was hired to do the work has not been paid for its professional services. But don't worry, the Smalls always get paid. Don't worry. To this day, the work remains incomplete. It appears to many as though the child abuse policy changes were implemented at a central district level so that the Smalls could directly control what gets reported and what doesn't get reported. I believe that. I can't prove that yet, but I believe that. Because why would you change it? If it's not about control, why would you change it? They don't do anything good. Why would they do that? Now is the time for Governor Phil Murphy, the Commissioner of Education, and the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs to step in and correct this disturbing situation. We'll be back if you have a reaction to that. The time is yours at 609-407-1450. We need answers. We need to know, and I need to know. I need your help. If you're at one of the other schools, reach out to me. Let me know if your child abuse policy was changed. We now know that they were changed at Atlantic City High School and at the Chelsea Heights School. Obviously, Atlantic City High School is grades 9 through 12, and I believe that Chelsea Heights is pre-K and then 3rd grade through 8th grade. Let me know where else it's changed, and wherever possible, send me. I have a copy of the handbook of the one I just mentioned. Send me a copy of the policy. At Chelsea Heights School, for example, it's item number 14 in the handbook. I've got that. I've got a copy of it. We have an audio tape now of Constance Days Chapman. So I am putting together a complete, utter dossier on all of this, because we can't just allow this to then wither on the vine. We've got to make sure, and parents need to go to board meetings, and you need to demand changes. You need to demand transparency. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. I've left the whole second half of this hour in case you'd like to react. Don't be shy. I mean, this is the children that we're talking about here that are not being protected by bad adults, allegedly.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Just about 31 minutes past the hour. Harry Hurley, 3 stories that you can follow right now on our WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. The Atlantic City High School principal and at least one other elementary school has changed their child abuse policies. We want to know why. Certainly they weren't changed for the better. Criminal charges against the Atlantic City mayor, who is Steve Fulop's campaign co-chair for his campaign for governor. We have that story. Fulop, where have you been? And Ocean Club Condominiums, the balconies, back in the news.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Happy Earth Day. Mother Nature treating us to a couple of quiet, pleasant weather days to start the new week. It is chilly this morning. We'll see a high of 60 this afternoon. Mostly sunny and dry across South Jersey. Clear and cool tonight, low 42. Tomorrow, sunshine with late-day clouds and a bit of a breeze, high 63. 68 on Wednesday with a chance of rain, especially in the morning. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today. This is an important safety.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Goshen, Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. 37 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program. Thanks for tuning in to WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We are, because of you, South Jersey's talk station, and this literally is the program where more breaking news takes place than every other outlet in the metro market media combined. No one's ever disputed that when I say it, and I believe it's a truth, and I believe it's a defendable comment. Joining us now is the immediate past president of the Atlantic City Board of Education. But you know, when this is all over, someone, I guess it'll have to be like a Governor Chittarelli, but I'm going to recommend it. Someone, look, he's going to be rich. He's already rich in many ways, but he's going to be rich because what the Smalls have done to him, both at the Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority level and also at the Board of Education. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And I think he's going to just massively recover. But I think at the end, John Devlin should get some kind of proclamation, some kind of thank you, because he tried to do it while he was there and in the position. And a lot of people after that would be just like, hey, you know what? I got my face kicked in here. I had enough. But he has not gone away. He has continued to support children He was the man that wanted to change the child abuse policy. I remember the passion in so many interviews that we have conducted with John on air where John would bring up what he was trying to do, and at the highest levels, how he was fought. Who would fight changing child abuse policies that don't work? Who would want to keep that the way that it is? I think we all know now why. Because of their cousin that they were protecting. And let's forget, I don't care what they say. Oh, I reported it. I did everything right. I did this. I did that. They protected him. This guy never should have been eligible for the state of New Jersey to put him back in a position to be in front of children again. And if I remember correctly, and John will correct me if I'm wrong, his state position gave him direct access to children that had certain disadvantages, possibly disabilities. I mean, just abominable what they did and allowed that to happen. And I promise you, I know that people are destroying evidence and all kinds of bad things are going on. We will connect all of these dots. Like, people do ask me, how did this guy get a job with the state, with kids, after what he did in Atlantic City? I said, yeah, very good question, isn't it? Go look at the people. Look at the people involved. And the old, who had something to gain? Who had something to gain by the Cayenne Frazier situation being kept as down low as you could possibly keep it? Who stood to benefit from that? You really do work your way towards the truth. John Devlin, welcome to Hurley in the Morning. I spent real quality peak drive time on the two schools that I have confirmed have changed their child abuse policies, and for the worse, I might add. And I want to find out more. I don't believe these are the only two, John.
Good morning, Harry. Yes, I've been following contently. I'll say this, and you already know this. Policy shouldn't be able to be changed by an officer of a school, meaning principal, vice principal, beyond. That is at administration level, as far as superintendent and board. That has to be, all my years I spent on the Board of Education. The Board of Education voted and changed policy and procedure. So this is, if this is being changed by an administrator at school, we got some real problems. That was always done at the board level and beyond, and the state was always giving us direction on certain policy and procedure changed, and we would vote on it throughout the years. That's how it went down.
Do you have an answer to why the committee that you formed, the consultant that you had on the outside looking into it, and all these different things, why was all your work short-circuited?
Well, I want to say this, Harry. And I don't want to take any credit. I was one of five that was really pushing for an investigation on the Board of Education. And let me just say this, I was attacked. I have been accosted and, called a racist and beyond in public. And, it's no...
and you had your two board seats taken from you.
Yeah, and it's definitely was something in dispute. With that being said, there was five of us, and all of us, Farouk Hussein had his seat taken from him in an unprecedented way. Al Herbert took a lot of backlash on his position as a police officer. Al Thomas, who was basically run out of town. So, we all took abuse, and we were all standing to, stay there for the fight because it was something we believed in passionately about children. That's why we were on that board.
Let me ask you a question that people keep asking me, and a friend of mine just wrote me, a real good guy, by the way, and I've been asked this question literally probably 100 times since Constance Days Chapman, Marty Small, and Laquetta Small have been criminally charged. Did any of these people, you talked about how it would be the board level, and that's always how policies are created and or changed, but is there a requirement that if a student reports to a teacher that they are being, let's say hypothetically, even though we know this example did actually happen verbatim, if a student comes to a teacher and says, I am being emotionally and physically abused by my parents, it's my understanding that the teacher always had a responsibility in the past to report that to DIFAS, which is now DCP&P, Division of Child Protective Services. So if that's indeed a requirement, then they can't create a policy that takes that requirement away.
It's not a requirement, Harry. It's a state statute, and that they report it to DIFAS. Now, we did this through investigation. The only reason I'm astute to it. It's a statute that they report it to law enforcement right away. Not DCP&P, not the principal of the school, not the superintendent, not the school board, law enforcement. It's written, and we presented it to the school board, and we got nothing but pushback from the administration, the state monitor, and the state monitor even told me, it was kind of breaking news, is that she was getting pushback from the Department of Education for this whole thing, which, I've seen a lot of things in my time on the school board and beyond, but that was really something that took my breath away.
So what is the reason that adults were supporting actions that did not properly protect children?
Harry, your guess is as good as mine. I'm guessing that, the Frazier matter, hit home. And a lot of people's reputation was behind his actions and his crimes that he committed in the district. And my guess was people were more worried about their reputation and their egos than to worry about the actual crime that happened to the children in our district.
John, answer me this question right after the break if you can, because a lot of people would love to know the answer to this. How did Cayenne Frazier go from sexually abusing minor child number 1 to getting a state of New Jersey job which continued to give him direct access to children? And I believe it was disadvantaged children at the state level. How did that happen? Was he not terminated and ineligible for rehire? Was he terminated and not eligible for rehire, but they just didn't communicate with the state? The state didn't know. God forbid, I don't want to believe this, but it's a possibility in this sick situation. Did the state know what he had done and hired him anyhow? I don't want to believe that, but I want to see if John has an answer to this, because it is a burning question that has not been properly answered over all of this time. Back in a moment.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, is not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're listening to Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and the WPG Talk Radio Hurley in the Morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
That's what we do. It's 10 minutes before the top of the hour. John Devlin, former, longtime, more than 20-year Atlantic City Board of Education member, and if I counted it all up, I'm sure for more than a decade in various stints, the president of the Board of Education as well, so the leader. And, John, the question on the floor is, how did Cayenne Frazier leave the Atlantic City District under these circumstances and get hired by the state of New Jersey and have direct access to children all over again?
Well, first and foremost, we know that's true. Secondly, that was part of our, when we hired an independent investigator, a law firm, to come in to figure that kind of stuff out. We never got answers from it. I know he was not fired. We know now, after the investigation, he was not fired from the school district. That's we know. How he moved on to a state agency, I mean, shooting from the hip, I would say he had good references. I could not tell you. I mean, I don't know how you deliver somebody like that to a state agency, specifically an agency that works with children that are being abused. There's sometimes you just got to throw your hands up and say, I don't know how this happens, and this is one of those times.
This is going to be time well spent, and then I want you to comment. I'm going to read into the record directly from the literature pertaining to reporting child abuse and neglect. What are my obligations to report child abuse /neglect ? By law, NJSA 968.10 and 18A 36-25 and the Department of Education regulations NJAC 6A 16-11. Any person having reasonable cause to believe that a child has been abused or neglected by a parent or caregiver is required to immediately notify CP&P, Division of Child Protective Services. After reporting to CP&P, any school district employee, volunteer, or intern must inform the principal or other designated school official so that law enforcement authorities can be notified. Sidebar. So the change at Atlantic City High School by Days Chapman that the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office has confirmed, and I've listened to an audio tape of a meeting when she is discussing the change in the policy and the change that took place at the Chelsea Heights School that says you must first report to the principal is not true. And it's not a policy that anybody listening, no teacher should ever follow that. No supportive staff member should ever follow that again. It's to be reported to CP&P first, and I have it in writing. If you want to then have a policy, it says in here, they don't even need another policy. It says in here, report to us first, then you report it to the principal or other designated school official so that law enforcement authorities can be notified. School personnel play an important role as reporters since they closely monitor and interact with children on a daily basis. The name of a reporter is kept confidential, and reports to CP&P can be made anonymously. However, the investigator may need to clarify information with the reporter or have additional questions. If you need help deciding whether to report a specific situation, contact the Child Abuse Hotline at 1-877-NJ-ABUSE to speak to a screener. I thought this is also an interesting part of the narrative. What is my liability? In other words, if you know, if you're Constance Days Chapman or you're a teacher that a student says, hey, I've been emotionally and physically abused by my parents or whoever, uncle, whatever, whoever. Here it is. Any person who knowingly fails to report suspected abuse is a disorderly person and subject to a fine of up to $1,000 or up to 6 months in prison or both. Educators should know that you are protected from civil or criminal liability, discharge from employment, and discrimination if you make a report in good faith. John, everybody that's in education needs to become familiar with what I just shared.
Yeah, Harry, and that tells me two things, right? One, it's a law. And two is that by telling your staff to report it to you, you're putting them in a situation where they're breaking the law and could make them liable.
Right, and you know, because you also served in the military, you never have to follow an unlawful order. Ask the folks in the movie with Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, and et al., Michael Pollack et al., Gene Hackman. I could keep going. Or no, Jack Nicholson rather. You don't have to follow. You don't have to do a code red. You don't have to follow an unlawful order. That policies and procedures handbook, John, is an unlawful directive.
Well, reading state statute, that's correct. And, I heard that tape recording also. And, if I was a teacher in the district, I would pay close attention to that handbook because...
you realize that I don't think it's going to happen to them. The two people that wanted to report the emotional and physical alleged child abuse were told by the principal, according to the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office in the criminal charging documents, to not report it, that she would report it. They have committed a crime by not reporting it, John.
reading what you just read and knowing what we know at this point, yeah, right, they're violating the state statute, which is, a law. So, unfortunately, their administrator set them up for failure and put them at risk.
I mean, it reads as clear as can be. Any person who knowingly fails to report, they knew. That's why they wanted to report it. They knew they were required to report it. They were ordered not to report it. An unlawful order, and I'm telling you, and if this is proven by the Atlanta County Prosecutor's Office in a trial, the people that are guilty of this behavior, John, need to be punished to the fullest extent of the law because that is monstrous behavior.
Harry, this is the situation we had where you have an administration that wants to cover up, that doesn't want to be transparent, that wants to inner control of every school district, of every club, of every organization inside the school district where, heaven forbid, if nothing leaks out or, if they're control freaks. And to require your teachers to report abuse to them as administrators and just keep it in the house and don't let anybody in and we don't want to talk. Listen, unfortunately, child abuse happens. What we can do as administrators, board members, and beyond is take the steps to protect the children. If the children are affected, take the steps to make sure that they're getting some kind of treatment.
John, if you can, hold on, please. I'm hoping that you can continue, but I know you work, and you'll have to tell me if your schedule permits. I've got to get this in the final minute. My friends at Ambient Comfort, it's really, I know it's cold. It was 39 degrees when I came in this morning, but I promise you, that's not going to stay. Right now is the time when you're not sweaty and miserable to call my friends or go on the website. I'll give it all to you in a moment at Ambient Comfort, and they do the repairs. They are magnificent. They're at our home twice a year minimum. That's if nothing is required. That's to do the spring check, the winter check, and then the spring check goes right into the summer season as well, so that your system is ready to perform and get you through the hot summer season. When comfort matters, choose who I choose. Ambient Comfort. And they've done something that's very tough to do in this day of high inflation. They've kept the price for this tune-up for new customers at the same $59 as last year. Go to AmbientComfortNJ.com. AmbientComfortNJ.com or 609-568-0955, 609-568-0955 for your $59 AC tune-up. Tell them I sent you, and that's for new customers.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
5.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
I hope you were with us for the last hour. It was a very important hour because there are some very, hideous things that are going on in the Atlantic City Public School System right now. And unfortunately, with the likes of Shea Steele and that crew that you have right now, the majority of that board, good luck. Good luck. They haven't even taken action yet. And those just joining us, John Devlin is our guest. They haven't even taken action yet on Laquetta Small, John.
Well, let me say this, Harry, and I've said it a bunch of times and broke it on your airwaves. You have a board led by Shea Steele, who's compromised. Not only is he compromised because his wife works for the district, he also has a cushy job up in fire prevention where the appointing authority happens to be Marty Smalls. And it continues. A lot of the board members, Miss Bailey's son works for the district, Mrs. Byers' daughter works for the district. The list goes on. I mean, 99.
Doesn't Shea Steele have a direct relative that also works for the school district?
Yeah. Yes, they do. I mean,
so it's all over the place. So how is he going to do anything? But I got to say, for a superintendent to have multiple criminal charges involving child abuse, and that they have not taken action about her. And all that Shea Steele has said is, we have a board meeting on April 23rd. That was like 5 days ago that he said that. To me, that is outrageous, John.
Can I just put you on the spot for a second? What if, and I have confirmed with my sources as well that she's still on the job working, and everybody's innocent and proven guilty, I'm guessing, but if you're accused of this kind of crime and if she was walking through the schools at New York Avenue and a kid accused her of slapping him or assaulting him, do you know what the Atlantic City Board of Education and the district and the taxpayers of Atlantic City will be on the hook for?
Oh, it would be unlimited. It would be what do they call it in stock option trading? Is the risk is unlimited? That's what it would be. It would be unlimited. It would be a tragedy. But the amazing thing, though, is look at their inconsistency. Constance Days Chapman gets suspended promptly. And look, I don't wish anyone ill. That's not my makeup. I know there are people like that go for that kind of thing. I don't want anybody to lose their job or to be hurt. But if you have a situation where someone in a leadership position of responsibility, allegedly fails to do their job, and you don't report. I just read, for those that missed it, I read into the record towards the end of the last hour from the state of New Jersey, the law about reporting alleged child abuse, and their current policy that they changed what was legal to something that is not legal. And you don't have to be a lawyer to know that when the state says you shall report to the DCP&P, the Division of Child Protective Services, and you don't, and you change it to don't do what you always did. Don't do what the law says. Do what I tell you, and that is report it to me, and then I'll report it. And then that person allegedly doesn't report it. That is monstrous behavior, and you're putting your staff members in harm's way. That they have now. There's 2 staff members that have committed a crime, a disorderly persons crime, punishable by a $1,000 fine and or 6 months in jail. But of course, you'd be done at that point. That wouldn't just be some petty disorderly nothing burger. That would be a crime committed within the commission of your job as a certified staff member, an educator, and you'd be ruined at that point. You'd be absolutely ruined. So, John, they set up a policy to make their own employees commit crimes. How sick is that?
Well, Harry, thinking back on this, too, we have a lot of policies and procedures and state statutes. This whole premise of the Frazier matter is built upon a policy that was violated. It was the nepotism policy and procedures. How can you have a nephew working for you when you're his direct supervisor? And that, this is the beginning of the end. Again, that was covered up. There's a lot of situations.
Another thing I want to see investigated criminally. I know the FBI has done a lot of good work. I would even upgrade it to a lot of great work, but not as much came from it as should have. What did the Smalls know, and when did they know it?
I think that was a question we all kind of asked. And not only that, when did the administration know? When did the other administrators
And then
know?
What did they do once they knew? And then how did he get the state job to still have, a key to the candy store? How does this happen? And it doesn't happen by accident, in my opinion.
I think a lot of policies and procedures like we're talking about today were circumvented. How come law enforcement wasn't advised? How come the Atlantic City Police Department wasn't advised? So why didn't they take action? Why didn't they prosecute?
But I will tell you, then people worry about that, though. And I love Sarkis, and I love the men and women of the Atlantic City Police Department even more than I love Sarkis. But what do? I mean, look, riddle me this. Doesn't the mayor have 2 officers on his protection detail, right?
Okay.
Do you think it's possible that they have ever witnessed child abuse?
I mean, I'd hate to even have an opinion on that. I don't know.
Well, they're with him a whole lot, right?
Seems to be, yeah.
So if they ever saw anything and they didn't report, I mean, look at all these people that potentially are being compromised.
And they're being compromised. They're being set up for failure by Smalls and his faction right now. And so are the teachers. You know, there's a thing called this brown stuff that goes downhill, and it just covers everybody with it. And it stinks, and it ruins people's lives. And this is what's going on, and it has been going on for decades.
By the way, I got to be honest with you. If I'm the two teachers that did not report, I would be lawyered up, and I would be documenting to the moon and back with everything that they attempted to do, that they wanted to do, that they were stopped from doing, because I really mean this. They're in jeopardy because of what has been done to them. And everybody listening, and the teachers that are already in the classroom and can't listen right now, friends of theirs, relatives that are listening, spouses and other relatives and children and whoever, tell your parents to go to the podcast later today and listen to this tutorial that we put on, because never, ever should any of these innocent people be put in a position, John, where they have to commit a crime because they're working for a regime that is putting policies in effect that places them in great criminal peril. This is no joke, John.
No, and the cover-up always outlasts the crime. I think they're playing a lot of damage control now. And
well, they don't seem like they're doing too good at it.
No, but if they would have done the right thing way back when this all went down and reported it, listen, child abuse happens. We're not proud that it happens in our school. It happens. It's how you prevent it, and it's how you deal with it. Putting away, putting it under the rug, shoving it away in the corner nobody sees is not the way we prevent it from the future. It's not the way we handle it moving forward. It's not the way you treat children. We have a duty, a responsibility. You put your hand on the Bible when you swear in as a board member and beyond, and swear to tell the truth and to protect the children and to protect the Constitution. These are the things we do. The little things we say when we're sworn in as board members. That didn't happen on this day.
John, what do you say tomorrow night at the school board meeting? I think there's a very good chance that the board is not going to take action, that LaQuetta Small will be kept as active superintendent of public schools in a case that might take 18 months to 24 months to resolve, where she is accused of multiple child abuse charges. There is no educational setting that I'm aware of on planet Earth where someone like that could continue active in the position. These folks, like Shay Steele, they are capable of doing just that. What happens if tomorrow night's meeting ends? Now, it should have already been done. I mean, maybe it's the hint that they're not going to take any action because they haven't taken it yet. She should have been immediately suspended, just like the principal. Well, in other words, why isn't Dace Chapman still on the job?
Great question. And, listen, we've done this in the past. We've had administrators and board employees that were accused of a crime, and depending on the severity of the crime, was suspended with or without pay. So this is something we've done. Like I said, and I go to the analogy that I said earlier. What if she's charged with another crime while on duty and being accused by this? The list goes on. I think liability purposes. Hey, Shay Steele, we're liable here. Hey, Shay Steele. This
what John? What message is being sent? I'll put this as just a comment into the break, and we'll come back and further it. What does this say to all the parents, pre-K through 12th grade, thousands of parents? What does this say if Shay Steele and the Board of Education keeps a superintendent active in that position who is charged with criminal child abuse offenses? That don't worry, your children don't have any worry. Just pretend like this isn't happening. See, I'm with you, and I've written it in different pieces that I've done for the digital platform. of WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I believe in the presumption of innocence. I believe in it with all my heart. But there are charges when you're in certain positions. Like Marty is an elected politician. He doesn't have to step down. Maybe the state might put some pressure. Who knows? I don't know. They haven't yet on anything because the state does have a lot of leverage and a lot of control. But he can say, look, I'm not guilty. I'm going to prove I'm not guilty. And I'm not resigning. I'm not stepping down. That's different. When you're talking about a teacher, or in this case, a superintendent, and the charge isn't that they are alleged to have shoplifted a pair of bra and panties or socks. I mean, the charge is child abuse. And if you read the narrative of what the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office is alleging, I mean, beatdowns. I've never heard of such a thing. And I really believe, my prediction is they're not going to take action tomorrow. And they might even address it and support the individual, because that's the bizarro world that we're living in. And at that point, don't worry, because the next person that you have to have help you is Corsi's wife, who, by the way, I've written very nice things about. And after that, it's whoever you want to bring into it. Jackie Suarez, DCA, Governor Murphy, Department of Education, Commissioner. I mean, this is unbelievable. But the fact they've taken no action tells me that they have taken action. They're going to leave this person in the position like nothing is even happening. And I'm not aware of any superintendent that's ever been criminally charged with child abuse that was not immediately. That should have been by lunchtime on the day of the charges. I'm going to get John's prediction when we come back. Does LaQuetta Small stay as the active superintendent and just comes every day? Everything's great? Or does the board take action like they did in the case of Constance Days Chapman? And boy, hey, Constance Days Chapman, I know you're listening. If you haven't figured this one out yet, if you don't know who the fall guy is yet, then you didn't get the memo.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
I'm from Margate. EHT. Galloway. Mays Landing.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the Morning.
They always have great conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. We continue our Dateline Atlantic City discussion with John Devlin, former Atlantic City Board of Education president, longtime 20-plus year board member. So my prediction, and I'm usually pretty good at this because they're not really predictions. They're almost like mathematical equations. I just sense that they did not call a special meeting. They did not call an emergency meeting. The board president didn't take action non-pro-tunc and say, hey, guys and gals, I had to do this, and we'll work it out on the next meeting, but I had to do this. I mean, we cannot have the superintendent who's criminally charged with child abuse be the superintendent active at the moment. I'm for, her staying in the position until disposition is achieved, but we just can't have this right now. None of that took place, and the meeting is tomorrow. So that tells me they're not going to take any adverse action against LaQuetta Small. John, are you with me, or do you think that they will have to?
I will say this, and it's my famous quote when you deal with the City of Atlantic City or the Board of Education. Lawlessness breeds lawlessness. And I'll say this. Tomorrow night, something unequivocal, something unprecedented is going to happen as far as what her status will be. I don't know if she's going to be confined to the administration office. Whatever it may be, I'll tell you what this is going to happen. I have a crystal ball. Marty Small and company is going to pack the room with all these people, and they're going to tell us how wonderful she is. And
Kaleem, the entertainer, Shabazz, and everybody can come and support and can support this. I just wonder, when are we going to have, this is a separate topic, when are we going to have a rally to support child abuse?
Great question. But, I think that'd be more important. And again, Harry, going back to what we
Hey, by the way, anybody that would go to a meeting before you know disposition of something, anybody that would go to a meeting and support that, shame on you.
Harry, I hate to say this, but, and if you study history, this already happened. When we had an emergency meeting, and me and you discussed this, I called for an emergency meeting. Board members even critique me. Why are you saying emergency? Where's the emergency? Okay, we found that there was child abuse. We found out there was sexual child abuse, and that's not an emergency. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't call it. It's a special meeting. When we had a special meeting or emergency meeting, whatever you want, Mari and company, I got pictures of video of it. During COVID, packed the room. And there was no 4-foot distance and none of that. He packed the room, and everybody in the room, oh, my God, you couldn't, I almost threw up in my hat of how many people were just, all these stories of how wonderful the Smalls were and this and that. And, at the end of the day, it's like, guys, we're just trying to do the right thing as board members. I don't get paid to do this. I took an oath. Okay? I took an oath of office.
John, this is them. I mean, I just want our listeners to understand the gravity of this. This is them when a child was sexually assaulted.
That's correct.
I mean, it's unconscionable.
Let's go back to what's going to happen tomorrow night, okay? They're going to pack the room. The room's going to be packed. It's going to be 2 hours of saying nothing but wonderful things about the superintendent and the principal at the high school, I'm sure.
Yeah, what a great job they do.
How great they are, how great thou is, thou out, thou. Come on, stop it. At the end of the day, they're going to come up with something unprecedented on how to handle the situation and not damage her reputation or her ego. And I said it before, I'll say it again.
So then that will involve her being the active superintendent. You think maybe, and I hadn't considered that they might say you have to stay in the office, but I don't think they're going to do anything like that, John.
It's going to be something unprecedented. Listen, what they should do right now, suspend until the outcome of the investigation. That's where we're at. That's where we should be. That's where any district in the state of New Jersey would be, probably in the United States. Listen.
Wouldn't the board open up their own investigation too?
You would think. You would think they did. Absolutely. I mean, that's what board members do. This is what boards do. This is why we have school boards and legal advisors and superintendents. And then on top of everything else, we have a state monitor. So
how many firm small people are on that board? I love that verbiage.
I would say there's 98%. I'd say there's one person there that's independent on that board. And I'd say almost all of them, except one or two, is compromised. And when I say compromised, I say they have a board employee directly related to them.
Right.
Wife, sister, brother, son, daughter, spouse, and so on.
I'll tell you, I think it would be very important. There's only because they fought to get the one off. It was something like a fraction of 1% below the population. So there's only one sending district board member now, correct?
No, there's zero.
Oh, that's right. The last one was a combo one, and it got taken away by a fraction of a percentage point. So there's not even a sending district rep that could say, look, this is not good. You can't have something like this. I'm not saying that she's guilty. I'm saying she's just charged. But these are, let's put it this way, John. Would a teacher be able to continue to teach with LaQuetta Small's charges?
Absolutely not. And
then she can't stay, and the principal can't stay, and she can't stay. And just because they're going to try to make it And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just waited until a regular board meeting. They didn't consider it an emergency. They didn't consider a special meeting or a non-pro-tunc immediate decision to handle a crisis. And they waited until the 23rd, and they did the right thing. I mean, sometimes what they want to do and what they just absolutely can't get away with doing makes them have to do the right thing. I'm leaving open. It's possible that they will suspend her because it will be so intolerable if they don't. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just saying it because I know me and I know what I'm going to do. If this goes down the way that I think it's going to go down, John, you've known me for a long time. I am going to go off in a way that probably no one has ever seen before. And it will only be because the people that should have done their job and done the right thing have done the wrong thing. So I will involve Governor Murphy. I will involve the Attorney General. I will involve the Department of Education, the Commissioner of Education, Jackie Suarez. Is that other person you were talking about, Carol Morris? Is she still the monitor, or is it a new monitor, John?
Well, Harry, what you're saying, we should already have. We have a monitor appointed by the State Department of Education that directly reports to the Department of Education. That department directly reports to Governor Murphy. So we should already have that. And I know what you're saying, and I know, and I have known you a long time, and I do know the powers that you meet, but this should be going on right now. We shouldn't have to stick our foots up their backside, Harry. We shouldn't have to be talking about this. We shouldn't have to be telling them this is what we're doing. This should be already done. You got a state monitor. Okay, the district doesn't know. Okay, we have a state monitor that's been a superintendent for 100 years. She should know. She should be the one making calls. Override the school district. Override the school board president like it did me, Miss Morris, when I tried to hire an investigation under all these crimes that were going on. But no, you don't hear it. She stays quiet. You know why? Compromised. This is a bad situation, Harry, and it's not going to get fixed until we do an independent investigation, something I said about 3 or 4 years ago.
So what do you think is going to happen? And again, this does not have anything to do with presumption of innocence that I believe all fair-minded people should have. They have a great criminal defense attorney. I know that Eddie's representing Marty. I'm presuming that he's also representing Laquetta. I could be wrong. I don't know if they need 2 attorneys or if they're going to have 1. The 2 Menendezes have 2 attorneys, but the husband is evidently not going to be very supportive of the wife in that one. In this one, I think it's kind of interesting because Marty's been telegraphing, John, that there's no separating us. We are together. Constance Stace Chapman has done nothing wrong, and you can't split us up. I mean, he's really almost interfering with a criminal case with what he's been telegraphing out loud, that they're all together and this and that. I ultimately predict that it becomes impossible for all 3 of them to stay together.
No, I agree with you on that part, Harry. And I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be something unprecedented. I mean, it's already been unprecedented. You know, anytime any employee, and I hate to tell you, Laquetta Smalls, you are an employee, you do answer to the taxpayers. I think that's gotten, she's confused on that one, too.
Hey, do me a favor, and he might be listening, too, and feel free to call me later, Mike, because I'm down on you, man. Where's Mike Suleiman, the guy that couldn't wait to write that Moorshed has to step down, he can't serve, I believe in innocence, but you can't continue to serve. He's had nothing to say about Marty Small or Laquetta Small. Nothing.
It's funny you said that. I was thinking the same thing, and I actually reached out to Suleiman regarding this, and I didn't get any answer, of course. But listen, Moorshed, agree with him, don't agree with him. He's basically accused of stealing some paper ballots, which isn't right, and it's a crime, and I get it. But he was the first one out of the gate, and he bragged about it. I was the first one to step up and say he had to go. I'm like, great. Now you hear him, well, Constance, take a leave of absence until we get all this figured out, and nicey. And well, what do you think that is?
Well, I know, of course, because they control the delegates to remain as chairman. But I'm still going to call him out I get it, but I don't accept it and I don't respect it. And I'll tell you, I want to personally like him, but professionally, he's so unacceptable to me. Because the one thing about me, you can like me or you can loathe me. I'm consistent. If it's good for one, it's good for another. And he wrote, and I have it in front of me, Michael Suleiman, his tweet, while Councilman Morshed is entitled to a fair and impartial trial, and while everyone is innocent until proven guilty, it is clear that he can no longer effectively represent the residents of Atlantic City's 4th Ward. He needs to resign. Okay, so then let's change that. We'll do what I saw also on Twitter. And it used his same thing, Atlantic County Democrat Michael Suleiman, and it reads, while Marty and Laquetta Small are entitled to a fair and impartial trial, and while everyone is innocent until proven guilty, it is clear that they can no longer effectively represent the residents of Atlantic City. They both need to resign immediately. So a little bit difference if you're Marty and Laquetta versus if you're Councilman Morshed, right, John?
Absolutely. But listen, you got to keep going, Harry. And I asked you a question. Why is that? Because she chairs Atlantic City Democrats. And what does the Atlantic City Democrats vote for?
They vote for the chairman of the Atlantic County Democratic Party. I did answer that a little bit ago. I directly answered it. And they have total control. Who Atlantic City votes for wins. You cannot win without Atlantic City. Suleiman is completely controlled by these folks.
Harry, let me finish because I tried to get it out of you twice. But what else does that directly affect? If Mike Suleiman is not the chairman of Atlantic County Democrats, does he hold the position that he holds with the direct Department of Transportation? Does he hold that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't say until it would happen, but him having the position he has, the politically appointed position, elected position he has, certainly didn't hurt him getting that.
So if you follow the money trail, it all leads back to Rome. Okay? You got him protecting his votes in Atlantic City. Without Atlantic City, he doesn't get the chairmanship position at the Atlantic County Democrats. And, you know, nice guy and everything, but does he deserve a position at the Department of Transportation? I mean, I don't know. What's his qualifications? I don't know. I mean, he's a political, I don't even know the position his name. It was made up. But look, at the end of the day, you know, it's this whole thing of cover-up, whole thing of protecting their own. No way. Look, when it involves children, hats off.
Hold on. Hold it right there, and we'll come back to that, John. I'm way up against the break. It's 39 minutes, almost 38 and a half minutes past the hour. With John Devlin, we'll be back in just a little bit. Don't go away. It is the Hurley in the Morning program.
Sean Hannity.
You know, look at the price of everything. Eggs, you know, what you were paying in 2020, you're almost paying double. If you like frozen pizza, even that's a massive percentage. Butter and potato chips and cereal and milk, just the basics. What you could buy 4 years ago versus what you can buy today is 36% less. It's unreal.
Sean Hannity on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the Morning.
It tends to make me feel a little bit more intelligent.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. Quick sidebar. If you'd like a quick update on President Trump's trial, a couple of somewhat interesting developments. Number one, court will end early today at 12:30 p.m. as one of the jurors has a toothache and needs to go to see the dentist. So that is going to end early today by hours. And one of the jurors right now is meeting with whoever they meet with, the judge or whoever, because the juror is saying that they don't know if they're going to be able to stay on this jury with the media attention that the case is getting. So that's your update on the first full day. Well, it's not a full day. It's a part day now, not even half a day of the President Trump trial following the jury selection. We're visiting with John Devlin this hour and part of last about what's going on. I thought of a really good way, and I always love to coach. If I wasn't doing this, I swear I want to be a life coach. So I'm going to be LaQuetta Small's life coach. No, I won't send a statement. There'll be no fee. This is free, what I'm about to provide. I think what LaQuetta Small should do is actually, and wouldn't even have to really cook it up. This could just happen organically. The board could say, one supportive thing after another. We just believe that this is racial and politics, and, we believe in our superintendent, and she has this amount of years and, in education, and we're going to stand with our superintendent, and we're not, taking any action at all. And then what LaQuetta should do is say, I want to be held to the same standard that any teacher would be held to, that any supportive staff member would be held to, that the nature of these charges are such that I cannot effectively stay in my position. I think that I should be suspended, and I believe that I'm going to be vindicated. I believe I should be suspended with pay, and I would request that now I've made it easy on my colleagues. You don't have to cast a vote in opposition to me. I'm asking you to support my wishes. John, that would be Churchillian. That would be Lincoln-esque. That would be the way to handle this. So I assure you they won't. But that's what I would do. My free advice ends right there.
No, thank you. That was good advice, and that's what a stateswoman or a statesman would say. But that's not going to happen, Har. You're going to see, a whole parade of, people come in and out, speaking highly and giving her accolades. Listen, maybe some of them she deserves, but at this point in time, there's no debate here. You just take your medicine. Look, she may be innocent. We don't know that. At the end of the day, you're in a position where you're involved with the being accused of a crime, and
you're involved in a crime, multiple crimes alleged that involve child abuse. How do you stay in the top official position within a school district with that kind of criminal charges? That doesn't happen in the United States of America, John.
No, it doesn't. And it doesn't happen, especially with a district that has so much oversight. We have a direct line of communication Department of Education. I know this because I've had many conversations with the state monitor. So
hey, listen, this is not a bad deal, because you and I both know if she is suspended, she will be suspended with full pay. You don't dispute that for a second, do you, John?
Not 1 second.
Okay, so we both know that. So this means she could take the next 18 to 24 months off with full pay and full benefits. I got to tell you, other than having the criminal charges, which are unpleasant and perilous, that's not a bad deal.
No. Listen, that doesn't happen for everyone. It's selective enforcement, which I don't agree with. We've had other employees at the district suspended without pay for years and years and years. As a matter of fact, as of the last couple of years or more than that, we had an employee that won their case and actually got all the back pay. But for years, who knows what they did for money and benefits? I mean, nobody's getting younger here. So it's selective enforcement, and that's another thing. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And that's not what goes on in our district.
Let me also bring up something that's rather obvious, especially now that these public education dollars are portable. If your home district is failing you, and I believe me, I say this with a heavy heart because I love Atlantic City. I loved my 4 years at Atlantic City High School. I loved my time at Richmond Avenue School. And we lived both in Atlantic City, then in Ventnor, and then I came back for 4 years at Atlantic City High School. I loved it. But I have to say, now that these educational tax dollars are portable, this has to be absolutely terrible for business. And in an article that I wrote in the past year, John, you shared with me, and other friends of mine in the district shared with me, the enrollment numbers are a catastrophe, John.
Yeah, they're declining at a rapid pace, and stuff like this doesn't help the situation.
Well, just imagine if you could pick, oh my gosh, I could go to Atlantic City High School or I could go to Ocean City High School. It's a lot of pressure on Atlantic City right now when things are going the way that they are.
Harry, just as of recently, just had my second child go through high school. The 4 years of high school are so critical for children when they're growing up. And there's no book on parenting, but let me tell you, there's a lot of emotions, there's hormones, there's everything going on in high school is so...
the word is formative.
Right. What happens to your child in the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And, I think, as a educated parent, a parent that wants to do good, you look at high schools. I looked at both high schools for my child when they were in high school, and sports ed, academics, sports programs, and if I was doing it all over again, something like this would cross my desk. I would have second thoughts of sending my kids to Atlantic City, especially if I was a sending district. And also too, now that we have no representatives from the sending districts on our board, those numbers have decreased to minimum numbers where they don't have enough kids in our sending kids to our district that they rate to have a representative. So their numbers are declining, meaning less children coming from Down Beach and beyond. The taxpayers are going to take because we're not paying our teachers less, our administrators less. We're actually getting bigger. Our administration's gotten bigger over the years, and we discussed this on your show.
It's terrible.
So we still, what was on deck for the ACBOE is a $10 million new administration building because the old administration's too small. What's that tell you? We're top heavy.
Yeah, it's not too. The old one's not too small. You've gotten too big. That's like somebody that puts on like an extra 50 pounds and then they're complaining that their clothes don't fit anymore. I mean, come on. You have to look at this and say, wow, we need a bigger building because we keep hiring more and more friends and family. And the running joke in Atlantic City under the small regime is they've run out of friends and family to hire. They now hire ex-wives. John, when we come back, because both you and I are big practitioners of this, it's one thing to point out the problems. I want to go into some of the solutions. What could be done to improve things? John, if you were in there as president of the board, what are some of the things that can be done that aren't being done right now correctly? We'll be back right after this. Don't go away with John Devlin. This is...
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City,
Brigantine,
Mays Landing.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Hurley in the morning.
The more we talk about it, the better.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back. The immediate past president of the Atlantic City Board of Education, John Devlin, is our guest, retired Atlantic City police officer, and also the immediate past chairman of the Atlantic City Municipal Utilities Authority. So John has held a lot of important positions within the city and has done a really good job for decades. And, of course, a victim of political retaliation, and you'll learn all about that as the next months, and hopefully it won't be years before John is Not that he needs to be vindicated, but he will be. So, John, I pointed out that it's one thing to point out the problems. I think that's important to do. It's important to share with the public the truth, what's actually going on, and point out problems. And I know that some people only get hung up on negativity. We're not like that. I also believe it's very important to talk about solutions. What are some of the solutions that you would offer?
Back on you, I want to piggyback on you. Transparency is the key. Keeping the parents informed and engaged. There's a lot of, we have tons of capital that there's tons of programs we can get involved in that do that. I think is being a partner with the community was a big thing that I pushed for when I was board president. It comes down to children. We have to work together as a team. Look, I'm not an educated teacher. By the way, Harry, I want to say this on live on air. We have some of the best teachers and programs in the district, in the state of New Jersey, by far second to none. We have award-winning ROTC. We have so many nice, beautiful resources. I'm very proud. I was always proud as a board member of our teachers. So I never wanted to cast any kind of cloud on our teachers with any of this going on. But to continue what we were talking about, the key is transparency and communication. Would you agree?
Yes, that's a good start. We don't have any of that right now. In fact, just the opposite. That was the whole reason they changed the child abuse policy, because they didn't want transparency. They wanted control. Yeah, I agree. And it doesn't, the cover-up is always worse than the crime. And, way back when we became a part of this Frazier matter, I was hoping this is the last time we ever had to deal with something like this. I really, really, truly did. It was a really, it's funny. When you said that, they're going to say this is racist. And, I think one of Marty Smalls' favorite line is, it's political season. Well, right now it's technically not political season for him. So I wonder if he's going to use that as well. Listen, we have to change our mindset moving forward. And remember, hey, we're here to service to children. Forget about politics, jobs, promotions, who's getting what district car and what classroom and what office and administration building. We have to get back to basics. And we also have to reach out to other districts, too, and collectively work with them. What's working at Ocean City High School that all the kids are flocking there? What's working at ACIT that everybody's flocking in droves there? What's working in Linwood that's making them become one of the governor-awarded elementary schools? You follow the lead there a little bit, Harry? Yes.
Yeah, so I think, there's a couple of key things. And again, I'm just a board member. I'm not a teacher. I'm not in the classroom doing the daily grind, writing curriculum like these heroes are. I'm not. We just have to implement, policies and procedures that make our children safe and successful. Key, done, nothing else we're saying, and give our teachers what they need to succeed. And I think there's so much clouds right now. I think there's so much drama, and there's so much stuffing between the teachers and administrators right now that's really clouding what their goals should be. And until we get to the bottom of a lot of these issues, a lot of these questions, I think you're going to have continue to have these kind of situations. The population in the public schools that just keeps going down. What's the solution to that? That's a good question, Harry. I think, again, what's working? What school do the population is exceeding? ACIT. What can we do to duplicate what they're doing out there? Again, Ocean City High School, bulging at the seams. Absegami High School, bulging at the seams. And they also have Cedar Creek that's, doing very well. Our numbers are going down, and some of it has to do with the environment. When the casino industry doesn't do well, a lot of casino workers move to Vegas or Florida or New York or wherever else gaming is, and that's part of it. But we haven't recovered. And since 2000, I told you, I think our population of high school down over 1,000 now. I haven't been on the school board for a while now, so I haven't had the new numbers, but I can't see them turning it around, unfortunately.
And that's a big problem because obviously it's not always, I don't think it can always stay the way that it's been with the state in a takeover mode, with the transitional aid. I mean, Atlantic City at the local purpose tax level and at the school purpose tax level, without the state backstopping and propping up, can't make it. I mean, Marty can brag about the tax decrease. That's because of surplus. That's because the state has been providing tens of millions of dollars in local purpose and school purpose tax transitional aid. And you know all about that from your position on the board, John. Final hour. At some point, Atlantic City is going to have to make it on its own.
No, Harry, you stole the words right out of my mouth. Who's, the next superintendent, the next faction that comes in as the mayor and council, they're going to have to deal with the shortcomings of all the federal and state aid. I mean, Governor Phil Murphy's been very, very good to Atlantic City. We've seen money, on unprecedented levels. But what happens when the governor's not there anymore? And we have a governor that's, doesn't have deep pockets and doesn't think Atlantic City needs that much aid. We're going to be very hard times, Harry. We had this before under Chris Christie. We had a
10 seconds.
riff. Yeah, we had a riff, and I'll let you carry it out, Harry. It's been it's been great talking. To be continued. Good discussion, John. Thank you, and to all of our listeners, who I hope are our readers on the digital platform of WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm following up probably in the next 3 hours or less. I'll say 3 hours, 4 hours max, 2 to 3 hours probably, on the law in the state of New Jersey versus what